Greetings, community, and welcome to the 16th Annual Voices That Count Disability and Aging Policy Forum. My name is Dr. Kimberly Mills, and I'm the Executive Director of the Virgin Islands University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities at the University of the Virgin Islands. The VIU SED is thrilled to bring services to the community, and we've been doing so for over 25 years. We specialize in delivering research, best practices, policy, technical assistance, community services, information dissemination, and pre-service preparation for professionals. All of these activities are for the purposes of advancing the lives of people with disabilities, advancing their independence, their productivity, their happiness, and their quality of life. Part of how we do this work is through this annual Disability Policy Forum. The Voices That Count Forum is one of our signature public events, and it's one of the ones that we are very, very proud of because it's an opportunity, as the title suggests, for voices to be heard, for people with disabilities, our members of the aging community, to have an opportunity to address their political candidates, the politicians sitting and aspiring, the sitting governor, the delegate to Congress, the at-large candidates, and for their issues to be brought front and center to the ears and the eyes of the people that can really make a difference in advancing policy and legislation to make our entire Virgin Islands a better place for people with disabilities. We are thrilled this year to be partnering with AARP on this forum. We like to say in our field that if disability hasn't affected your life yet, just keep getting older. And disability is a normal part of the human lifespan, and at some point, as I mentioned, if it hasn't affected your life yet, it likely will one day. And with that in mind, we seek to just make coalitions with partners who have similar interests, and so we're thrilled to be partnering with AARP on this forum, and this forum was made possible through support and funding through AARP Virgin Islands. We're so happy to have members as question askers, members of our community. We have Miss Janice Lee, who's representing our aging community, and Miss Nina Garcia, who's representing the voices and the needs of people with disabilities. And we're thrilled to have you both today. The Virgin Islands Youth SED, as part of our mandate, seeks to, as I mentioned, move the agenda forward for people with disabilities. Some notable things we'd like to take an opportunity to share with our community, are our plans for the first annual Caribbean Regional Conference on Disabilities. We expected to have it last April. It was going to be a signature event bringing researchers and interest from all over the country to the Virgin Islands, with cutting-edge research specifically addressing the needs of people with disabilities, and even more importantly, from a Caribbean perspective. When we get an opportunity, once restrictions are a little bit more loosened up regarding COVID-19, we do expect to execute that first annual Caribbean Regional Conference on Disabilities. The Virgin Islands Youth SED continues to offer American Sign Language classes, and we will be offering classes via Zoom this fall semester and also spring semester. In 2021, we're going to be starting back up art classes and yoga for people with disabilities, which will serve as skill building and leisure recreation, as well as respite for caregivers. We continue to be active in our research and grant writing agenda, and we were recently funded through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, $500,000 grant for distance learning and telehealth and medicine. We are happy to report that we're going to be providing 16 telehealth units to various different agencies and churches and institutions around the U.S. Virgin Islands, including the Library for the Blind. The Virgin Islands USED is also happy to note that we will be expanding our clinical operations and developing a clinic where physical therapy treatment for people with disabilities as well as the aging will be able to take place on the island of St. Croix, as well as applied behavior analytic therapies and techniques. Because we can never forget Hurricanes Irma and Maria, sort of life-changing events for all of us. And when we had many listening sessions with our community, one of the critical things that came up was the issue of communication and access to communication. So through some fundraising efforts, we were able to have some funds donated, and what we did was we purchased emergency radios for members of our community. You can please contact the Virgin Islands USED on St. Croix at 340-692-4265, or on St. Thomas, 340-693-1406. Now, we have a weather radio here, which is tied into the emergency signals for people with hearing impairments. These radios have the capability of closed captioning, so that the messages will be broadcast across the screen in print in the language of your choice, English or Spanish. As well, there's a strobe light to alert you if there's a hazardous event coming through. We also have hand-cranked, solar-powered, battery-powered, and electric-powered radios also available for people with disabilities in our community as well as the aging. And again, you can secure your radio by contacting the VIU USED St. Croix or St. Thomas office. Again, we're so thrilled to be able to bring this forum to you. Dr. David Hall will be bringing welcoming remarks shortly, and we're here to serve you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
On behalf of the University of the Virgin Islands, as president, I am honored to welcome all of you to this Voices That Count gathering. This is a fundamental part of the university that we convene this gathering every year. It is a message of what we stand for as a university, but more importantly, it is a service to this community. VIU USED, under the leadership of Dr. Kimberly Mills, has been having a tremendous impact on this community in the area of disabilities. And the two key words that resonate within its title is excellence and disabilities. And the reason that is important is that as a university and as a society, we believe that excellence is obtainable regardless of our station in life, regardless of the hurdles and challenges that we have to overcome. And so we are just extremely proud of the work that is happening here, that provides support to our seniors, that provides support to any individual in this community that we could be of service to. I am delighted that we, in this remote and virtual world, can still continue to make sure that all voices count, and the voices of those in the community who are saddled with disabilities or confront disabilities truly do count. And this conference is a way of making sure that their voices and their lives truly matter. Welcome and thank you.
Greetings. I'm Troy Deshabert-Schuster, Director of AARP in the Virgin Islands. We are pleased to partner with the Virgin Islands University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, known as VIU USED, in presenting this senatorial forum. AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. With nearly 38 million members and offices in every state, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, AARP works to strengthen communities and advocate for what matters most to families, with a focus on health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. AARP also works for individuals in the marketplace by sparking new solutions and allowing carefully chosen, high-quality products and services to carry the AARP name. As a trusted source for news and information, AARP produces the nation's largest circulation publications, AARP the Magazine and AARP Bulletin. Maintaining that nonpartisan stance allows us to work with all political parties and candidates by providing a platform whereby voters have an opportunity to hear from candidates seeking election to the legislature so that they can make an informed decision at the polls on November 3rd. We hope that you will find this forum to be informative. Please vote. It's your vote, your voice, our fight.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Brown. I live here in the Virgin Islands from St. Thomas, and I work for the Virgin Islands Independent Living Center. I'm happy to be here and that I was selected here to ask questions of the candidates about what they're doing for the disability community and the aging.
Hi, I'm Janice Lee, for those of you who may not know me. I've been on this island since 1970, and I know that's probably before most of you were born, senators and aspiring senators. I have been a coach, a teacher for 31 years, and that includes St. Dunstan's, Good Hope, and Central. I played softball on the island from 1970 till I'm not going to tell you when I quit playing, but they know me from the ballpark. Or I was an official for a while, and I've just had a birthday, and aging is a thing I don't usually talk about, but I found out that I'm older than Joe Biden. So being that old, I think I should be able to get into my home. I have not been in my home since 1917 when Maria passed. I have had loops to jump through for FEMA and for now, what is it called? Something tomorrow. I'm still waiting for tomorrow because nobody is fixing my house. And I have been promised and promised. So that's important, and I want you, all of you, to know that you need to vote, and that's why we're here. And the senators and the aspiring senators would like your vote.
Hi, my name's Nina Garcia. I was born and raised in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. I have cerebral palsy, known as CP. I use a walker for long distances. I like to be independent. But in order to be independent, the grounds in the Virgin Islands is not accessible. I have a hard time walking across chunky gravel, potholes, sidewalks that do not have curbs. I use more energy trying to walk on the unterrain roads and sidewalks rather than enjoy a walk without trying to struggle. Trying to enjoy going to the beach and getting into the water is very difficult because I'm already unsteady on my feet. So using a walker is more energy that I have to use just to try to push the walker in the sand, and it did not go smoothly. What would be helpful for people that are disabled to access the beaches is a ramp or like a mat that you can put on top of the sand so we can have easy access and we do not have to get stuck in sand. We need technology to access the beaches and enjoy the beautiful Virgin Islands.
I have a few questions for you, but would you please state your name and the district for which you're running? And are you a sitting or an aspiring senator?
Greetings. My name is Genevieve Whitaker. I am number 3 on the ballot, and I'm a St. Croix district candidate for the 34th Legislature of the Virgin Islands.
Do you have any experience working with the disabled and the elderly community?
By way of background, I'm a lawyer, and so I'm very familiar with the laws surrounding persons with disabilities. But my work with persons with disabilities really goes into the fact that I'm a human rights activist, and throughout both undergrad and law school, I've advocated for the rights of the disabled. On the local level, I am a former communications director for AARP, and within that position, I worked a lot with both also the, of course, elderly community, but specifically persons with disabilities. AARP was one of the organizations that advocated for local laws pertaining to persons being able to have access and the like. Additionally, I'm also quite familiar when we speak about disabilities in terms of the rights that persons with disabilities have for the right to self-determination, and that really also starts with ensuring that in the case of education, persons with disabilities from very young, because we have disabilities spans various areas, and we also, when we speak about disabilities, we're also speaking about persons who have any learning challenges.
Third question. If you're successful, what are your plans for the aging and the disability community?
Once elected as your representative, and when it comes to persons with disabilities, I'm very keen on engaging persons with disabilities, for example, having someone included within my office structure. Right now, I actually engage with persons within the disability community as they give me various advice. And so I look forward to, for one, developing a system where I have persons with disabilities as part of my office infrastructure. And secondly, really working with the ADA coordinator and overall working on the enforcement of our disability laws and all aspects of the laws.
My name is Clint D.W. Ferris. I am number 7 on the ballot. I am running for a seat in the 34th Legislature.
Oh, could you tell me about your professional or personal relationship with people with disabilities or with the aging community?
I have had a professional career for the past 30 years. I've been involved in education, social services, and human development. I've worked with persons who are elderly and the most seniors among us. I've worked with persons with disabled. I work with persons who are going through some level of crisis in their lives. My brother was born with a developmental disability, and I've worked with persons with developmental disabilities. I've worked with the elderly, and I've worked with persons in crisis. So I am a caregiver, and I will continue to be a caregiver for those persons.
When you're elected, what will you do for the elderly and the disabled community?
Once elected, you can expect a person that will go hard and advocate for those persons who are most vulnerable, those persons with disabilities, and the seniors and the most elderly among us. I will advocate, I will push, and I will demand better legislation and a better quality of life for those persons.
My name is Devin Carrington, number 5 on your ballot, running as an independent for the Senate from St. Croix. I've had some personal experiences dealing with persons with disabilities, particularly my father, who died in February, suffered from dementia for about 7 years. In that experience, I learned that the resources of the Virgin Islands for dealing with that type of ailment are very limited. I also had the experience of dealing with an autistic child, and while we did have some more resources for that ailment, all in all, I would say that the resources in the Virgin Islands are quite limited for persons with these afflictions. There used to be in existence at the waterfront in Frederiksted a place called Aldersville that used to house elderly people with different ailments and afflictions. There's no reason why we as a government can't find funds to put that back. There's also many sources of federal funds that can be used for the help of persons with autistic problems and other such ailments that are mentally debilitating. I want to encourage that we use local funds and tap into federal funds to establish facilities for seniors as well as other people who are afflicted with mental issues.
Greetings to the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. My name is Senator Giovanni James, member of the 33rd Legislature of the Virgin Islands, and I'm number 2 on the ballot from the St. Croix District. Well, I would start off with my personal experience. I have a niece by the name of Denisha Walsh who recently got in a car accident in the state of Georgia, and ever since then I have been doing fundraisers for her, making sure that I send support and making sure that my sister has all the resources that she needs. However, when it comes to my professional life, last year as I came into office, I was able to write a letter to Dr. Kimberly Mills to help her get support for funding from a university on the U.S. mainland, or I think it was locally. In addition to that, I'm also hearing a bill in my committee meeting, which is October 13, 2020, which will allow for funding through AARP and some other initiatives to get funding for beaches, to get ramps and walkways. Senator Payne is the sponsor of the bill. I'm signing on as well, and we should be hearing that soon in my committee meeting. In addition to that, I also want to speak about my involvement in the LEND program. Last 2018, before I became a candidate, I met Dr. Kimberly Mills, and through that, I was able to attend a program in New York where I was able to meet with individuals from all over the world who specialize in disabilities and helping those who are disadvantaged. And I was able to sit down in classes, series of courses, and get some experience when it comes to that. Once re-elected, my focus is to just stick to what we were doing before, but just make sure that we find other ways to generate revenues. Like I mentioned in an earlier interview, one of the main problems we have here in the territory, as a first branch of government, we tend to pass measures, but they are unfunded mandates. So I'm very mindful of not passing unfunded mandates. So what I will do is work with the executive branch, specifically the Commissioner of Finance, to make sure that there's appropriate fundings. Hopefully our revenues will go up and we can be able to take a small percentage of that and allocate it towards our elderly population and our disabled population as well. But long story short, I will work with the Committee on Finance. Whoever is going to be the chairperson for that committee will play a vital role in making sure that we have the necessary funding so we can fund these initiatives.
Good day. My name is Okan Benta, and I'm your senatorial candidate, and I'm number 14 on the ballot, and I hail from the District of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. With the disabled, when I was a little boy, growing up in an area by the name of Campo Rico, my neighbor, whose name was David Weeks, was born with a defect as a result of lack of oxygen, where his limbs became very, very weak. In growing up with him, his intellect was pretty much intact, his faculties were in order, and eventually when he became a man, he worked at NASA. But during growing up, we had to carry him everywhere on our backs. We had to lift him up and take him to the car and put him to bed. And in doing that, I learned something significant, that as a man today, being able to work with those individuals who are less fortunate, to have a first-hand experience and understanding what it takes for a family to care for someone in that position. So with that, to Mr. David Weeks, thank you for being there with me, for showing me that even though you are in fact disabled, that you had the wherewithal to stand and become a strong member of the NASA family. When it comes to the seniors, I can tell you, to date, I visit a family in the area of WIM where I help 2 senior citizens on a daily basis as much as I can in taking baths and doing showers, shopping with them, actually cleaning their yard at times. Because I do know that from whence I came, that there is a day that I myself may walk within the same preamble that they are, where I would need someone by my side who understands. And I honor the footprint of gold that they have left for me to follow and to become a productive man as well. They've been there as a young man for me, and I continue to be there for them until God say, welcome home, brother, welcome home, sister. When I'm elected by this honorable body of citizens within this community, thank you. I promise that I will continue to serve you and bring forward those plans that I am actually in action right now with the governor trying to get done by way of taking care of every single one in this community by way of consolidating our debt that we've had over our head for decades. And to bring a new aspect of healthcare where there's the art of many physicians, the likes of Oprah Winfrey, who is very much versed in trying to get us taken care of, along with Tyler Perry, who is looking forward to donate funding to this territory, to get the understanding and the buy-in from my colleagues to move forward and getting these ventures going. And these facilities eventually will become the property of the government of the Virgin Islands. Healthcare and prosperity, where jobs in construction alike for our citizens are one of the forefront of building an economy with a strong semblance of a foundation of structure to bring our economy and our community to the 23rd century rather than being left behind and considered second to none.
What is your name? What district are you running for? And what is your ballot number?
Good day. I am Senator Allison Degazan from the St. Croix district. I am running as a Democrat and I am number 10 on the ballot.
Second question is, what's your experience professionally and personally in dealing with the aging and disability community?
As the former assistant director for Vitima, I worked closely with the elderly and with the disabled community during disasters, after disasters, and making sure they were taken care of. As a daughter of an aging father, I understand their needs and I understand that they're a vulnerable part of our community. We have to ensure that we have legislation and initiatives and programs that look out for them to make sure they're safe and taken care of at all times.
If you are elected or re-elected, what is on the agenda for people with disabilities or people like me who are aging?
Because I understand the importance of taking care of this vulnerable part of our community, I submitted legislation to create a disability integration unit at Vitima. This unit on St. Croix and on St. Thomas will be able to take care of our disabled community and our elderly, specifically during hurricanes, during pandemics, whenever there's a situation that will put them at a disadvantage. This unit will make sure that they are taken care of. We just left our budget markup and I pushed to ensure that we have the funding to make this unit a reality.
My name's John McCoy. I'm number 9 on the ballot, and I'm running for senator for St. Croix.
Oh, could you tell me about your professional, or personal relationship with people with disabilities or with the aging community.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues I've been addressing here on the island concerning our disabled, our senior citizens, being able to do the easy thing of just walking downtown, to be able to go to the stores and stuff. It's virtually impossible. There is laws in a place that is supposed to be correcting this issue. The problem is there's no oversight committee in order to make sure these issues are corrected. There's also an issue concerning the insurance. Insurance and the education through therapy and stuff like that. The Affordable Care Act was one of the issues that brought up on the island to make it so people could get the insurance without being discriminated against. We have a lot of issues concerning the increase of 40% a year on just the insurance coverage to be able to have somebody go through speech therapy and through the schools.
Third question. If you're successful, what are your plans for the aging and the disability community?
Yeah, we need an oversight committee put on this island to be able to govern what laws we already have in effect. And so in my place as far as senator, I want to push the issue to make sure that we have somebody that is taking care of these issues and addressing the laws that these people have a right to.
Good day. My name is Franklin D. Johnson, candidate for the 34th legislature. I'm number 6 on your ballot, independent candidate. Well, for the past 6 years, I've been working very closely with independent living. I've sponsored White Cane Day in Frederiksted for the past 6 years. And I've also been an advocate for people with physical challenges, disability, and stuff like that. I had a very good experience in the past administration working with past governor, where I have a friend by the name of Sonny Barnes that worked out in the Golden Rock area. And he brought me one day to his job site and he said to me, he cannot utilize these sidewalks. It wasn't my job, but I felt I needed to step in right away. And I assisted him and got Public Work to go over there and fix just about all the sidewalk in the district court area, and that made life a lot better for him and anyone that traversing in that area with a wheelchair. Before that, they would have to go in the street in order to get from one place to the next. So I've been very active with the disabled and elderly community. Well, the elderly, and as late as the last 2-3 weeks, I have a farmer friend, a very good friend, that every time he have extra produce, he gives the produce to me. I go to the different senior home and just deliver it to the folks. The last time I've been there was maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. I delivered some okra, and I gave them very fresh okra from the farm. And he wanted to give this away without any kind of information about his business. So I'm privileged to have been working with him thus far and go to the different senior homes and deliver that to our seniors. And they're very appreciative of the different fresh food that we have delivered to them. One of the big things that would be on my mind for the elderly and the disabled is the sidewalks in our towns. If you go in Frederiksted, Christiansted, any of the 2 towns, the sidewalks them are crumbled. And we first have to start thinking about our people home and then start thinking about visitors afterwards. A senior today or a disabled person cannot maneuver themselves around our towns at all. Both towns, the sidewalks are in bad condition. That would be a main project for me to make sure that we find funding to fix those sidewalks so that when seniors want to go in town just to have a walk, or a disabled person just to be in a chair, they can maneuver through the town back and forth in a comfortable environment. So that will be one of the big things that I will make sure we work diligently to make sure that happens.
Greetings, I am Kurt Bailey, I'm a Democrat. I'm running for re-election. I'm number 12 on the ballot, and I'm humbly asking for your support. As I reflect on my personal experience with students with disability, I look back to the period when I was a principal at Arthur Richards Junior High School, and all of the modified instruction 2 and modified instruction 4 students were sent to the school from the entire island. I was able to create a real conducive environment for learning and an environment in which I was able to display affection and love for those students and make them feel warm and welcome. And those students with disabilities, they were the most loving students in the world. So I was able to have a relationship with them, able to make sure that they're educated, and I reflect on that all the time. I'm going to continue to be an advocate for the disabled and the elderly population. I was able to pass a Caregivers Act about 2 years ago, and I'm always looking for any type of legislation that would make the daily life of a disabled or elderly person a lot easier for them to function. I have requested from the Office of Disability and the Government House that they need to send down proposals that we're able to work with. I've asked for vocational rehab to be able to better assist those individuals who have a disability in finding jobs. If there's any way that we can help as a Senate in terms of providing funding, I'm ready and able to do that.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Gittens, number 16 on your ballot. I'm a Democratic senator in the St. Croix district. My experience in the community with the elderly and disabled has gone from back many years. And this has started with my great-grandparents, my grandparents, right on to my mother, and now individuals within our community. I am always at Wim Gardens assisting the seniors there and assisting disabled members of our community as well. Once re-elected to office, I plan to continue some initiatives that I have in place, whereas we'll mandate that all road projects include ADA compliance sidewalks. We have a number of areas throughout our territory, and specifically here in St. Croix in our downtown areas, where our sidewalks are in deplorable conditions. We would love to see these sidewalks with ADA compliance and not have those long drop-offs that we see in our downtown areas. Another initiative that I would like to work on is our beach access. We've heard so much about beach access, and we don't realize how hard it is for our seniors and disabled members in our community to traverse over the sand. And I'm looking at an initiative to assist these individuals in the near future. I'm asking you, the St. Croix community, to help me further these initiatives by re-electing me to office, Kenneth Kenny Gittens, number 16 on your ballot on November 3rd. Thank you.
I'm Senator Novell E. Francis Jr. I'm number 17, and I'm vying for a seat in the 34th Legislature of the Virgin Islands.
Second question is, what's your experience professionally and personally in dealing with the aging and disability community?
I have very good experience with dealing with the elderly. I've partnered with the ARP on a number of measures and legislation to assist our elderly. I've also co-sponsored legislation with my colleagues in respect to ensuring that our elderly continue to be safe in their communities and make sure that there is no abuse. And when in fact there's abuse that may occur, that there's legislation that will allow them to be protected, and those individuals, abuser, will then be criminally charged and hopefully prosecuted. My experience continued to be where I dialogue quite often with the ARP, as well as senior citizens, human services. Personally, I've engaged in a number of initiatives to support our elderly programs, as well as our disabled community. I continue to be a partner in terms of the Department of Health, Department of Public Works, in their efforts to create workability spaces to support our elderly and disabled. I have had personal, most recently, interaction with someone that had been injured and, continue to be challenged by the inability to make sure that we have adequate spaces for them. Here at the Legislative Building, while working with Julian Hanley, we made sure that we put in place all the necessary mechanism to allow for a disabled community to be able to access our building, make sure they're able to either utilize the elevator and we have access to them so that they could be able to be available in our chambers. So disabled continue to be one of, or the elderly continue to be one of those efforts that we continue to make. My entire front parking area here at the legislature is designated for disabled parking. And we want to make sure that they always have a seat at the legislature of the Virgin Islands. So I am very, very focused when it comes to our elderly and our disabled population.
If you are elected or re-elected, what is on the agenda for people with disabilities or people like me who are aging?
Absolutely. When re-elected, because I want to be positive about this, I certainly will continue to partner with the Department of Public Works, Department of Health. We sit on the walkability community. We want to make sure that we continue to provide funding to support our roadways, our sidewalk, parking, to make sure that we have healthy spaces available to our community, make sure that there's recreational places as well. And to make sure that all in all, we continue to support and champion efforts to make sure that we have a healthy community. We also want to work with the hospitals to make sure that our elderly given priority. And even at some of our government agencies, we don't believe that our elderly should have to wait in long lines, sit in long lines. We believe that we need to ensure that there's timely services provided to our elderly and our disabled population. So I'll continue to do all in my power to make sure that that happens. We also work with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles for the purpose of making sure that the timely availability of the disabled stickers at a very minimum cost, if necessary, to our disabled population. So I am a strong advocate for disabled population as well as our elderlies. I stand proud as a current sitting senator and as a future sitting senator in the 34th legislature, where the elderly know that they have a voice in me and a champion in me to make sure that they're taken care of.
Greetings. I am Alicia Chucky Hansen, one of your candidates at push number 11. You're going to push number 11 because you know me. You know that I'm a fighter for all people. And when the disability issue ever came up, I was in the forefront. I was not one of them that said or had the ability to assist you, but did not. It is one thing to say that, yes, we support people with disability, but then when you have the resources, you do nothing about it. You know that I have on multiple occasions. My personal experience has been one of being an advocate for people that can't fend for themselves over the years, whether it's disability, the people with mental illness, the homeless, those that have issues with labor, business people that have difficulties getting their licensures or permits and so forth. So I'm an all-arounder. The issue here is that people with disability knows that in the Virgin Islands, there was not such a name such as the ADA until I brought him in through the recommendation of the then attorney that worked with me by the name of attorney Amelia B. Joseph. You all are quite familiar with her. A warrior, a team warrior with me on behalf of the people with disability. Once elected by you, because you are important in my life, and you know that I am important in your life, I will continue to be the warrior I've always been to make sure that representation is a must on your behalf. You will recall where even the legislature had no elevators. I will have to come downstairs just to meet with you. No other office did that. And I pushed until they had an elevator so you can have proper representation. Ricardo Racial School had no ramps, had the children separated from what they call the average student. I stopped that single-handedly by utilizing the courts. You are aware that all the ramps that are now in public housing came about because of Chucky Hansen, because there was none in those areas. Now you can get your wheelchairs and have the ability and the right to go to movies and supermarkets because they must have that facility for you. And this is all came about because of Chucky Hansen. I don't just talk, but I'm an actor. I act on your behalf. I act on behalf of all the people of the Virgin Islands. Come hell or high water, you get representation from Chucky Hansen. Todos ustedes me conocen a Chucky Hansen, una peleadora para los derechos humanos del pueblo. Así que no se olviden de empujar el número 11, Alicia Chucky Hansen, la que pelea no importa la marea alta. Gracias.
My name is Shakima M. George, number 2 on the ballot, from the District of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. My personal experiences with the elderly has been with my grandmother, the owner of Eden's Daycare, who is 94 years of age, and her employees were all her friends over the age of 55. My professional experience with the elderly has been giving massages and offering daily exercises for the elderly. My beliefs is that the healthcare policymakers and educators should align with geriatric health services. It should be integrated. When elected to Congress, the initiatives that can be expected from me is the support and the lobbying of the NCOA, which is the National Council of Aging, protecting provisions of the Affordable Care Act, such as Medicaid expansion, which will be covering ages 55 and 65, whom are not eligible for Medicaid at this time. Lastly, I will work toward a bipartisan approach, which will strengthen Medicaid by finding solutions and economic security of our elderly and disabled. Thank you.
Well, that was a very exciting day of interaction and dialogue between members of our disability and aging community and the candidates for Senate and some of the sitting senators as well. Thank you for spending time with us today. We hope you've enjoyed this Voices That Count Disability Policy Forum. Again, thank you so much for your time today, and go vote. Be strong.